everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is time for the first video of the year, so Happy New Year. I already kind of wished you Happy New Year in my last video of 2020, but it's the new year now, and I really hope that you're gonna have a wonderful year. I'm wishing you all the best for the year and just, a lot of love and health and good vibes and just good everything. I hope that this year is gonna be wonderful for you. And yes, so I have been looking forward to this video for like a month, and that is going to be sharing my 2020 stats with you and talking about my goals for 2021 along with that. So there are going to be two ways that I'm going to be showing you how my reading went. First of them is graphs from my reading spreadsheet. I got it from Fudwa from Word Wonders. They're going to be doing like an updated one for the new year, which I'm not sure if it's going to be already up by the time you're watching this, but as soon as it is, I'm gonna link it down below because it honestly is the absolute best thing ever and I love it so much. It was so fun to see the graphs and just, see my progress, and it also allowed me to see like things that I want to do better or, just change in the new year. And I feel like there's just something that's really fun about graphs and all of that. And then also going to be talking a little bit about, my year in books from Goodreads. I actually wanted to do like a quick disclaimer. I read a fuck ton of books last year. I literally read more books than I thought was humanly possible for me. And the last thing that I want is to make anyone feel bad about, reading not so many books, because obviously 2020 was a really hard and weird year for everyone. And I know that a lot of people were struggling with reading and everything, so I really don't want to make anyone feel bad. And, I'm not doing this to brag, I'm just doing this for fun. And so for me, I had a lot of time, which I know is a privilege, and I'm really grateful for that. And I also was not really able to do anything but reading. I could barely focus on any TV shows or movies or anything like that, and just reading was my everything, and I don't know what I would have done without books. And I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get emotional either. So, I just wanted to say that, and now let's talk about everything. So, I read 284 books. Another thing that is important to know is that a lot of them were not long at all. There was a lot of poetry books and graphic novels and romance novellas that a lot of them were literally 40, 50, 60, 80 pages long. So I feel like that is another thing that made the number a lot higher. And the pages that I read were 63,892. And then we have shortest book and longest book. The shortest book was Ocean Deep by Darshana Suresh, which this is a collection of poetry. Well, not like a collection. I mean, I don't know what you call that actually, but it's just a short poetry book. And it was really beautifully written. It was like a sapphic mermaid love story, and it was super short, but still really impactful and beautiful. So yeah. And then the longest book was A Song of Race and Ruin, which was only 480 pages. So I was kind of one of the things that I wanted to do before the end of the year was read a longer book, because I do have quite a few on my TBR, but I was just struggling with long books. I read so much, but I'm terrified of big books. I'm just it intimidates me on a lot of levels, and that is one of the things that I really want to work on this year. There's not a lot of books that are super long that I want to read, because again, adult romance is kind of one of my favorite genres, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna read a lot of adult fantasy, which is some of the longest books, but there are some books that I want to read that I've been avoiding because they're long, so I do want to read those books. And the average book length was 224 pages. If I had to choose a preferred length of a book that I enjoy the most, it would definitely be around there. 200 to 300 is, I feel the absolute perfect length of a book for me. I obviously understand that it differs by genre, and I don't think that every book should be that long, but it is what I prefer personally. And yes. Then we have the most popular and least popular book that I read. So most popular was Emperor in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I mean, yeah. We have the least popular is Love by Night. by S.K. Williams, and this is actually a 2021 release, and I downloaded this through NetGalley, and so I read an arc of it. I read it already and really enjoyed it. That's a collection of poetry, which generally I feel like is not a very popular genre, plus it's not released, so you know. And my average rating was 4.3, which is pretty good, but you're actually gonna see my ratings in a graph soon. So I think I'm gonna just jump straight into that. Now, moving on to the graphs. I am so excited. I don't know if I'm gonna show you all of them. Maybe I am gonna show you all of them, but with some of them, there's not much to say. But the first one is the amount of books that I read each month, which this is one of my favorite graphs to watch because it's just really satisfying to, you know, watch the graph like grow when I read new books and all of that, and it's really fun. You can see that kind of like from the beginning of the year to May, it was climbing because, you know, in March it all went to hell, and then, you know, I read so much in May because I literally was not doing anything. Like I was done with school, and I was home all the time, and it was just, yeah, it definitely differs a lot. In January I read the least because, you know, it makes sense, but also it's not just like with everything and being home a lot, but it's also just that I completely fell in love with reading this year. Like I said, that last year was the year that I fell in love with reading, but this year is when books became even more meaningful for me, and books like they kept me afloat. They were my way of coping with everything that's been going on with me and with everything. And so, yeah. I said I wouldn't get emotional, so we're just gonna move on. I don't know what to talk about with like the amount of books. I don't want to pressure myself to read a lot this year. I feel like, I mean, I'm gonna read so much. I know that I'm gonna read more if I don't pressure myself, and I just want to read for fun because I love it, because I'm just absolutely in love with reading. And so I don't care, you know, if one month I read less or more. And when it comes to my Goodreads challenge that I didn't actually say earlier, I set it to one book because I just don't give a fuck, you know, like I can't imagine reading less this year than I did last year, but at the same time, I just don't want a single drop of pressure because reading is a hobby and I just want to have fun with it. And I do, you know, read for videos, which is a little bit more than a hobby, but still, I just want reading to be fun, and I don't want to focus on reading like a set amount of books because just I don't want to do that. So it's not a race, it's for fun, you know? And so that's that. So then we have ratings, which I gave 100 books 5 stars, and 85 books 4 stars, and then we have 35 books 3.5. So I'm not going to go through the rest because you can kind of see it on the graph. I do think I need to change my ratings because a lot of the 4 stars were actually 3 stars, and some of the 5 stars were 4.5 stars. I don't want to think too much about it, but one of my goals is definitely to think a little bit more about my rating system because I don't really have a system, and a lot of the time I'm kind of confused, and I really want to rate books in a way that kind of like shows me how I felt about them a little bit more, and just, I don't know. I just really want to figure out how I want to read books based on what I want to read books. I don't want to think about it too much, but I feel like I just did not have a system at all. And I also felt like 3 stars was a bad rating in a lot of cases, and it's really not. And I feel like a lot of people have that feeling, but it's just like, it's average. It's a little bit above average. You know, it's just like a chill, fun read that you're probably not going to think about a lot, but like it was not a bad book. And so I feel like there's quite a few books that were 3 stars that I gave 4 stars to because I was like, yeah, it was enjoyable, but it actually wasn't like amazing. So I want to give 4 stars to books that are actually amazing, but not like super awesome. And yes, so that's that. Moving into the next graph, which is definitely one of my favorites, that is the primary genre. So I feel like this is super cool to look at, and I'm really happy with it from the most part. So we have poetry, which I read 24 books of. I have not been reading a lot of poetry in the second half of the year, and it's not a genre that like I want to read the most of or like super a lot of, but I do want to keep reading it kind of like an average amount. Well, people usually actually don't read poetry, but like, you know, just like a little bit sprinkled in, like maybe, you know, just a few poetry books here and there. And yes. Then we have romance, which again is the genre that dominates, especially in the second half of the year. So I feel like it might dominate the most, like even more this year. But I do want to read more fantasy. We're gonna get into that in a second. So 27.6%. That actually doesn't sound like that much because I do read a lot of genres, so it's not actually that much, but like it is 77 books, so that's quite a bit, you know? And then we have contemporary, which is 19% and 55 books. I feel like I didn't actually read a lot of contemporary, but I think that might be because I read quite a lot of graphic novels that were contemporary, but not novels. And I haven't read like a lot of popular YA contemporary or anything like that. So I don't want to necessarily read more of it, but I do want to like find some good books in the genre, and I do want to read it. Again, kind of like the poetry where I want to read it regularly, but not like super a lot, if that makes sense. And then we're moving into fantasy. So that is 16%. It is 45 books, which is still super a lot. But the feeling that I have from, you know, like the amount and like the percentage is that I have not been reading fantasy, and that I keep like procrastinating on books that are on my TBR that I really think I'm gonna love. And I feel like with this genre the most, I'm missing out. Like I'm missing out because I just have been kind of intimidated by fantasy, and I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, it's fine, you know, it's completely fine. I did need romance this year the most, and I just could not handle books, character deaths, and anything like that. And I honestly still don't want to read it, but I just want to read more fantasy. And one of my biggest goals is to read fantasy romance, because in case you didn't know, I'm a writer, and fantasy romance is the genre that I want to focus on the most. For this year, I'm probably going to focus a lot on adult romance, and that is contemporary. But in the future, in general, like if we take my entire writing career, fantasy romance is going to definitely be dominant genre. And so, yeah. So, you know, I want to read a lot of fantasy romance. That's one of my biggest goals when it comes to genres. And then we have historical fiction, which is actually just historical romances, which I read 47 books of. And I do want to keep reading it. I love this genre so much. It's lighthearted, it's fun, it's amazing, and I definitely want to keep reading it. And yes, so I feel like that's all for the genres. The tiny little things are like sci-fi, dystopia, and yes. So I don't necessarily want to read more of these. Like I do want to try them out if there's like a good recommendation, but it's definitely not a priority. So yeah. Then we have age range. So as you see, adult is again like the most. We have 138 books. Again, this is definitely because of the romance. And then YA is still quite a lot. It's 32%. And then we have new adult and middle grade. So I do want to read a little bit more middle grade, because I feel like there are so many incredible and magical books. And I did really love the middle grade books that I read in 2020, because I don't know, there's just something that's so fascinating about the genre, and there's so many hard-hitting middle grade books as well. And I just love the way that middle grade books deal with like hard-hitting topics. And there's so many coming out this year as well that have the cutest covers. I'm definitely gonna do videos on like reading vlogs on middle grade and anticipated releases and all of that. So definitely want to read more of that. And other than that, I don't really care. I just want to keep reading, you know, in terms of the age range, like I just want to keep reading whatever the fuck I'm in the mood for. If adult like ends up still being super dominant, I don't care. If YA is a little bit more than it was this year, I don't mind either. So yes. Then we have format. And I do not like this at all. I read a super big majority of ebooks, which was 61%. I do want to say I love ebooks so much. I'm so grateful for ebooks. They are the thing that allows me to read so much, because without that I would not have access to these books. And I've also been reading a lot of indie romances, and it makes me really happy to support self-published authors, because I am one of them. and there may or may not be another thing that I self-publish this year. So, you know, that's really important to me, and I do love ebooks so much, but I just do not like how much they're dominant over the other genres. I feel like I'm seeing dominance so much in this genre, and I'm kind of like, in this genre, in this video, what the fuck? Okay, anyways. So I honestly, my preferred, like, the way that I would love for this to look is to be even between all of the things. So we do have a little bit of e-arcs, so I would love to get more e-arcs, which, in case you didn't know, it's advanced reader copy that a lot of people who review books, you know, get early in advance before the book is published. It's in exchange for an honest review, so I would love to have more of that. But when it comes to finished copy, audiobook, and ebook, I would just love to have a balance between all three of them, because I do love all three of the format in very different ways. So I just want it to be more balanced. Then we have, I feel like this one is boring, so I'm just going to quickly show it to you. It's the source, if it's a publisher, borrowed, gift, or bought. So I do like the fact that a lot of them are borrowed, which is Scribd and Kindle Unlimited. I don't have access to a library, but I do love that I have those two resources that allow me to read so many books without like paying a lot of money. So it is a little bit of money every month, but like for the amount of books that it is, it's almost like it's free. So I am really proud of that, and I don't necessarily want to have that higher because of all the books that I read, like I cannot afford to buy all of them. That would just, you know, I wish, but like no. Then we have author gender. This one is very interesting indeed, and that is I have 82% female, 6.9 male, and then 8.7 non-binary, and then 2% is collab. So I clearly mainly read books by women, which makes sense. So I read a lot of romance, I read a lot of YA, which is mainly genres that are written by women. I don't avoid writing books by men. They don't write the shit that I want, you know, most of the time. It's not that I avoid it. Like, I don't care. Like, I would not read a book because it's written by a man, but I just, you know, what I do want to work on is read more books by non-binary and trans authors. I did read 24 books by non-binary authors, so, you know, like, that's quite a few books, but in the, like, the percentage is still only, like close to 9%. And so I would definitely love for it to be higher, and I do have some books on my TBR that I definitely want to get to very soon, and I feel like more people need to read books by trans and non-binary authors, so that's definitely one of my goals. So yeah. Then the next graph is year published, which I'm actually so impressed by how many books I read that were published in 2020. And it was so fun to keep up with new releases. There's just something about it that is so exciting for me. And it's one of the reasons why I would also love to get more ARCs. And I don't know, I just never really did that before, and it was really fun. And I would love to do the same this year. I don't necessarily want to obviously only keep up with new releases. I would love to also read a lot of authors' backlist books. The next thing we have is publishers, and I feel like this is super cool, and it's not 100% like accurate, because with some of the publishers I just felt like it wasn't small press, but it's not like the top 5 or whatever. And so yeah, but we have the majority of self-published, then we have HarperCollins, and then we have small press, and then just randomly a few of the like other publishers. And I find this really funny. Like, I didn't do this on purpose. It's just the books that I'm the most like interested in are either self-published or HarperCollins. HarperCollins also owns Avon, which is a big romance publisher, so that again added a lot. But like a lot of the YA books that I love the most are HarperCollins. I feel like they have quite a lot of queer books and books by authors of color and just really diverse and amazing books. So I just love HarperCollins. Like, it honestly, when I like realized this, and I actually had one thing at school that was like a talk by some people from HarperCollins, I was just like, holy fucking shit, I would really love to be published by HarperCollins one day. So Definitely one of my new dreams. And yeah, and then we are moving into the last graph, which is author status. So 53% is new to me and 46 is familiar with. And I actually love this so much because it's like I discovered so many new authors, but I also read so many books by authors that I already know and love, and so that makes me really happy, and I definitely want to keep this up. Honestly, throughout the year, it was like kind of 50-50 most of the time, and so I would really love to keep it that way. And yes, I'm running out of space, so I'm gonna just speed this up. We have all the graphs covered now. Are there any other goals? When it comes to for my channel, there's a lot of series that I want to start that I'm super excited for. Stay tuned for that. And there's just going to be so many reading vlogs, and I just really am super excited, and I can't wait for you to see it all. And I would love to, like, one of my dreams, not necessarily goals, is to work with more other creators. There is a collab that I'm so fucking excited for that's coming very soon. And so I would love to do collabs. I would love to maybe do like a live show with someone. That is definitely something I would love, but I'm not really I'm not super close friends with any other booktubers. There are definitely people I love. So if you want to talk to me more, please do. So I would just love to work with other people in the book community. That would make me so fucking happy, and I would love to also do like a readathon or something, but these things aren't necessarily goals because like I would love to work with other people, and I don't know if they would like to work with me, and I just want to keep on creating content that I really love. And you know, I would love to get more people to watch my videos so that I can share books with more people and connect with more people, but all of these are kind of dreams, and I don't want to set it as goals because it's not fully in my control, but I just want to do a lot of reading vlogs for you. And I also want to just read as many diverse books as I can. And I do want to keep reading books that are not as well known, and just books that I feel like just deserve more recognition and support. Do also, actually, another goal that I forgot to mention is that I want to read more sapphic books. And I actually am working on a vlog that's coming very soon connected to sapphic books, so stay tuned for that. I did read quite a few sapphic books, but again, the percentage wasn't really high, and so I want to, you know, discover new sapphic authors and everything, and so I definitely want to work on that. And yeah, I feel like those are mainly all the goals. I feel like I said everything when I talked about the graphs and stuff, but I just want to have fun and don't want to, you know, like stress myself over anything. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, leave like the list emoji down below, like the one that, you know, is like a piece of paper that is kind of like it could be a list. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yes. And tell me if you have any reading goals for the year. What are they? And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, and I hope that we all have a wonderful year in terms of reading and everything else. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe because so much exciting content is coming this month, and I hope that you're excited. And yeah, have a great day, and we'll see you soon in another video. Bye!